Hello and welcome. Today we'll be continuing Project Gotham Racing 3 right from where we stopped last time. As usual, we're playing on the OG Xbox, and let's see how far we can actually make it today. I'm just hoping to be able to buy a McLaren F1, which is my favorite car, and well, it is available here, so we must get it. Now we have 8 trophies so far. Let's also check which cars we have in our garage, just to remember it. We have a Ford GT, a TVR Typhoon, if I'm not mistaken, a Diablo GT, a supercar prototype, an NSX, if I'm not mistaken. We can move to another garage. Yeah, an RT Turbo, a Viper GTS, a Ferrari 355 F1 GTS, and a Skyline. So we have enough cars to get those 9 trophies needed to unlock more events. Now, without further ado, let's go to the New York Open Bridge Series. And well, we have a cone challenge, which shouldn't be too tricky. So let's go right in. Now, which car should I use? I'm thinking about, well, let's use the Skyline to remember our routes. And since it's the first race of the day, I'll be playing on medium, but eventually we will try to increase that difficulty. I did increase the volume a little bit, so the cars should be louder this time, because last time I essentially had no volume. But if it's too loud, I'll lower it. Now the cone challenge is pretty straightforward. Just pass through them and you're golden. You also have to worry about time, so just don't be too slow. It's essentially a checkpoint event, but with cones and a much greater amount of checkpoints than your usual checkpoint event would have. Almost hit that cone, but so far so good. We can also do a bit of e-braking here to get some extra kudos, but just passing through the cones will probably be enough. And we have achieved the amount of kudos we needed. Now we only have to cross the finish line, and that's it. As usual, we get a lot of credits, which I'm not complaining, but they do like to overpay. So let's go now for an overtake challenge. Pass a target number of cars within the time limit. Sounds pretty reasonable, but for that, I'm going to use a different car. I don't remember if we got to race with the Ford GT on previous live stream, so I'm gonna use it this time. But I think we've already seen all the available events, so there's not going to be any surprises from that point on. Come on. And as usual, it's not really fair that this game didn't make it to Xbox One and the studio was essentially sold to Activision and no longer exists. Because just look at how fresh this game still looks 20 years later. And especially for a launch title. So we still have 3 overtakes left. And about a minute and a half, so that ought to be enough. Ooh, probably not. Well, let's try it anyway. Not gonna restart yet. But yeah, you have to be careful with the bumps on the road as well, which aren't always easy to read in advance. So that's an extra layer of challenge. "43 seconds left. We should be fine. Well, let's see. Let's put that engine to good use on that straight. "10 seconds. Can we do it?" And we did it with 4 seconds left. That was trickier than it needed to be, but nonetheless, we made it. So let's continue. So what awaits for us now? A drift challenge. Good, because I can use the Ford GT here as well. And I can e-brake on the A button. Perform big drifts to earn a target number of kudos within the time limit. String drift moves together to earn a lot of kudos, which we'll sure be trying during this event. We need 210 kudos. Well, I was expecting a bit more, but and we did it. And for this week in particular, I'm really hyped for Forza Horizon 6, which I have to say had bigger scores than I was anticipating, but that's fantastic news. Now we have a speed challenge. Drive past the speed camera at or above the speed target. I'm not going to change the car. Let's just use that one. But as I was saying, I was a bit worried that Forza Horizon 6 could be a bit underwhelming, especially considering the disaster that Forza Motorsport was. But I'm really glad that the game seems to be fantastic, and I'll play it on Game Pass, so I'm just counting the hours for it to be available. And so far, so good, which means it's time to change the difficulty. Now, should we buy a new car? As we've just completed a championship and got some prize money as well. So we have a world championship or a Tokyo. Let's go. Let's go for the Tokyo Street Cup since I was just talking about Forza Horizon 6. I can select another car or perhaps buy a new one. Now let's see cars I can afford. Still no sign of a McLaren GT. But that Enzo Ferrari is looking tempting. Yeah, that one has my heart as well as the Murcielago, but particularly the Enzo and the McLaren F1 are just great cars. And by the way, this MC12 is essentially an Enzo Ferrari built by Maserati to race. It's a very interesting car, and there's a great video by Doug DeMuro on this particular car. So it's essentially if you want to save, well, not a lot of credits as it turns out, you could buy this one instead of an Enzo Ferrari. But I think I will get this one since I've mentioned it. Let's park it inside, as it is our most expensive car so far. And of course, we'll be using it. Now let's try a bit more challenge this time. And of course, I have a more capable set of opponents as I've just upgraded my vehicle. Oops. So we're in second place already, not exactly driving cleanly, but it is a video game. Let's not forget that. And as well as the AI difficulty, the other change you have when you change from medium to hard is that instead of just being able to finish on the podium to complete the event, now it's either first place or second place. If I finish third, I have to play it again because third place is no longer good enough. So the first lap is over. And so far, so good. But any mistake here will be costly. Yeah, and I still think the track design in this game still looks fabulous. I mean, you really feel like you're racing through the streets of Tokyo in a crazy street circuit that was just built out of nowhere. And that's about it. So let's keep moving. There's also a photo mode, which is quite forward looking for a game that old. And we have just earned a new badge. So we have another street race where you will race wheel to wheel against multiple opponents and finish at or above the target position. Earn a small credit bonus when you overachieve at the novice or easy levels. But let's use the MC12 again. Don't push me. They're definitely putting more of a fight now. See those bumps? If you make a mistake on those, you're essentially out of the race. I'm also thinking about making a World Cup series, playing Pro Evolution Soccer 20, playing the World Cup there as we're getting closer and closer to the actual thing. Since I haven't yet been able to grab a copy of Pro Evolution Soccer 21 or eFootball 21, as they go for a pretty penny, and I refuse to pay a lot of money for a game like that. Or I could play it on PC, if you guys know what I mean. So we're once again in first place, but with a with close competition this time. Oops. Let me just grab a glass of water here, as the competition is heating up. And I think I'll be overtake. No, no, no. Not yet. Let's just carefully move through this last lap. Careful, careful. And it's over. So that's another win. I think we have 2 races left on this set of events, and then we'll go to the World Championship. The MC12 is proving to be quite the purchase. And now we've earned the right to buy a new concept car, the Nissan GTR Concept, which we'll be sure to take a look later. Congratulations, you've ranked up. So now we are at rank 8. But let's keep going. This time we have a one-on-one race, meaning that winning is the only way out. I hope it's not equal cars. It is not. Good. Well, questionable start by the AI, but I have nothing to do with it. Let's worry about ourselves in those tricky little corners here. But I like the circuit design here, even though the resolution isn't the highest and we're racing at night. You know, there's enough signs and hints here and there to properly guide you throughout the track. Plus the mini map here on the left, but you shouldn't be looking anywhere else other than in front of the road. Brake, brake, brake. Yeah, the competition will be fierce this time. And what makes it worse is that there's a lot at stake. I mean, unlike the traditional races where you have the comfort of being able to finish in second place and still make it through, this time it's a duel, so you either win or you're restarting the event. But so far, so good. Let's not get comfortable. Of course, I had to crash. Just and it's the final lap. Oh yeah, it will be a close finish. So please send your prayers and thoughts. Okay, let's just be careful here. Let's not make any risky moves. The finish line is just ahead of us, and that's it. Good race. Now, another trophy at our gallery, and it's time to move to the world event. Congratulations, championship complete. As usual, a very considerable credits bonus, which is always good to have. And let's go for the Breakneck World Tour, which has 7 events, so we'll be here for a while. Now it's time versus kudos. I'm gonna try it on hard, but I'm feeling like I'll have to change it to medium, as those events tend to be trickier, but let's try it first. Complete the circuit before the time runs out. Well, thank you for the fast loading times. Anyway, essentially, you have to get kudos to stop the clock. So you can e-brake, you can do perfect corners, but you shouldn't crash like I just did, which of course I only did to demonstrate how the mechanic works. Now, I don't like to try drifting in the straights, but I think I'll probably have to do that as I already only have 17 seconds on the clock. Another thing that helps in those events is a slower car, as they're easier to control. Well, at least we're surviving so far. I thought it would be worse. And failed. But let's try again. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. We made it to 33 seconds. We have to make it to 45. So let's try again at the same difficulty. Well, we're doing better this time. The trick here is e-brake is your best friend, but it could be your worst enemy if you overdo it or if you slightly miss the angle, as I just almost did there. Come on, e-brake. Another corner. Oh, we're so close, but it won't be enough. That red dot is the finish line, but it is possible. So let's try again. Let's not change the difficulty yet. We can do it. If it wasn't for that crash, that probably would have been enough to grant the completion. Let's go. Oh, not terrible, but not good. Yeah. That difficulty will be changed. No. Again, felt pretty close to the finish line. Let's try one last time on hard difficulty, as I don't want to get stuck for eternity here. Let's focus on the corner instead of trying to... Well, good save. Not a good save this time. And failed. So let's go to medium, which could be enough. Should be enough, actually. almost lost control there, but thankfully there was still time to save it. And well, it took us lowering the difficulty, but at long last we're through. Let's go for the next event, which is a timed run. Complete the race before time runs out to earn the medal. Let's try on hard first. Again, if we fail, then medium it is. But I'm not a huge fan of timed events or race against the clock type of thing. It's a big break here. Another one. So there's no messing around on this long straight. Almost lost control there, but thankfully was able to save it. 49 seconds remaining. Will it be enough? That's the question. I don't know. It's the answer. Another long straight in less than 30 seconds. But I don't see the red dot of the finish line. So it will be close to either end, but it will be close. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. Come on. Close, but not enough. Let's try again straight away before I change my mind about changing the difficulty. We have to shave off a few seconds. Okay, so here's the first long straight, which is our time to breathe in and out. Don't know if I'm doing better or worse than in the previous event, but we'll find out soon enough. And in a totally unrelated note, it is raining quite a lot here, which is always an event. Break, 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 break. Come on. And it was enough this time. Boy, that was close. But congratulations. You passed. Oof, that was close. So let's move on to another timed run. Just as I was calming down, but let me get a sip of water before. Okay, again, let's not change difficulty yet. We can do it. Yeah, I think that's a bit of a trickier track. So I'm sensing trouble, but let's not lose hope yet. Come on, come on, come on. Will it be enough? I don't think it will, but it actually was. So good thing that I was wrong. So let's move to the next event in this World Series, which hopefully won't be a timed run. So we have a breakthrough. Race through a series of checkpoints within the time limit. Clear a checkpoint to add more time. So it's essentially a timed run with a fresh coat of paint. But let's try it again without changing difficulty, as I'm feeling confident right now. Can do it. Yeah, I hate those bumpy sections, as it's easy to lose control. So we have 7 checkpoints to go, and I can barely see anything. 5 checkpoints to go. Come on. One checkpoint to go, but 4 seconds on the clock. And that was it. Hey there. Sorry to mispronounce your name. Babar. Have you played PGA 4? Not yet, but I definitely will. And for PGA 4, I'm actually thinking about making a proper video review because if I'm not mistaken, it is regarded as the best game in the series, and also sadly, it's the last game in the series as well. But I'll definitely play it. As I mentioned, I'm really looking forward to play Forza Horizon 6 this week, and then after that, I might focus on PGA 4, PGA, P Project Gotham Racing 4. I mean, what a mouthful that sequence is. We have another timed run. Let's hope to make the best of it. But yeah, I really like the series. I did play the first one on Xbox. Yeah, I know it's by, and after that they worked on Blur, which I have a video on the channel, and it's really sad that this super talented studio pretty much disappeared. I really think that PGR had everything to still be a series. I really think that Blur had what it takes to be a successful series as well. It seems like they were just really, really unlucky. But with PGR, it seems like Microsoft just didn't want to mess with Forza's popularity, so they chose Forza instead of PGR. I feel like it was pretty much the same thing with Sony and Drive Club. Drive Club was a fantastic game, but they might have felt like it's too close to Gran Turismo, and then they just killed the studio and killed the game as well. Yeah, PGR3 was a launch title for the Xbox 360, which is why I think it got some criticisms in the reviews for not being as polished as it should be. But I do think this looks and plays fantastic for a launch title. I mean, if you were coming from a PS2 or an OG Xbox back then, and you just saw this game on your screen running like this and looking like this, you'd be really happy with the results. And it still plays incredibly well. It still is a fun game to play today, which I think is essentially the biggest compliment to an arcade racing game. Yeah, there were many great games in that generation. I think Grid is also kind of a PGR3, but with more soft body mechanics and circuits. Even Need for Speed Shift could sort of be mentioned in that conversation. But PGR definitely had its unique soul and style, and I don't think we have anything close to it today. I mean, even slightly different games, but even Split Second deserves an honorable mention here. It was also in that generation that we had the last Midnight Club games as well. So that was a great time for racing games. And again, failed, but that was close. So let's try once more before we think about lowering the difficulty. BGR 4 is probably the only game to have Nürburgring in snow weather. Yeah, Nürburgring, even in perfect conditions, Nürburgring is challenging. Imagine it in snow. Yeah, PGR is a fantastic game. I think it's also one of the classic examples we have of a game improving its predecessor in pretty much every way. As Bizarre Creations finally had enough time to work and to get familiar with the hardware, because PGR3 development was a nightmare. They had to pretty much rush through to be able to get it on launch day, which is quite the feat. And another really disappointing thing is that you can't even play this on modern Xbox systems since it doesn't work on backward compatibility. Let's see if we finish it this time, and we did. Do you know a YouTuber called Dove_7? Yes, I really like his videos. If I'm not mistaken, he focuses more on Gran Turismo, but also some obscure racing games as well. But I do know him. But I do know of him. Yes. Now, should we buy another car, or perhaps should we go once again with the MC12? Let's go once again with the MC12. But after this race, I'm getting a different car. He made a YouTube video on Bizarre Creations games. I'm gonna check it out later. Is it a new one or is it an older video? But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Bizarre Creations. Even their non-racing games like Geometry Wars, which you can actually play here inside of Project Gotham Racing, you can play it on the garage. Were great games as well. I mean, they were really, really a talented studio. I mean, Bizarre Creations, Black Rock Studios, Evolution Studios, they really deserved a better fate than what they got later on. Black Rock Studios is the studio behind Split Second and Pure, which is another great game as well. Failed, but close. Yeah, he does make some great videos. And it's also interesting to have a perspective that's different from, you know, American YouTubers who had a somewhat timeline of access to games that wasn't always the access that people in other continents had. So it's always interesting to see a different perspective. Do you know MSR by Bizarre Creations? If it stands for Metropolitan Street Racing, yes. I never played it, but I know I've watched some videos of it. It was for the Dreamcast, right? And then Microsoft wanted to have that same game on Xbox, but I don't really remember for what reason, but they didn't want to use the same name, so they changed it to Project Gotham Racing. I remember Midtown Madness as well, which had a fun premise. I'm currently playing, on modern consoles, Deliver at All Costs, which reminds me a bit of Taxi Driver. Oh, I'm gonna restart straight away. Midnight Club or PGR? I think they're different games. I think PGR, you have street circuits, you have you don't really have a lot of tuning aspects here. So you buy the car and it is what it is. You pick the color and that's it. Uh, Midnight Club, I feel, is more like a Need for Speed competitor where you can tune your car, you can get a car, you can get your Golf GTI and improve it until it's super competitive. So I like both. That's what I would say. Mm, not doing well this time. Let me restart once again. But yeah, if it's about Midnight Club, I don't think the first ones are really that interesting. But Midnight Club 3 and Midnight Club LA are really great. I mean, Midnight Club 3, you can still play it today and have fun. But the early ones are really tough and a bit tricky to navigate as well. So Midnight Club 3, Midnight Club LA are definitely still pretty much enjoyable. I mean, we could also talk about the Burnout series, which to me, as someone who grew up playing those games, it's crazy that they've just been abandoned. Ooh, and finished. Finally. Congratulations, you passed. I think it's time to buy a different car. Let's see. I don't think the McLaren F1 is available. Let's see. Buy a new car. Cars I can afford. Yeah, I still can't get it. Well, yeah, I'm going to save. I'm going to save it to get the F1. A YouTuber called Golden, I can't see the other, Golden RT made a fan-made PGR5 trailer. Well, I'm gonna check it as well. It's such a shame that a great franchise like this one was abandoned. And the worst thing is that I don't think it directly competes neither with Forza Motorsport nor with Forza Horizon because it doesn't try to be a simulator nor it has an open world map like Forza Horizon. So it could still exist. It's like a middle point that I at least find very interesting, which is why I really liked Need for Speed Shift, for example, and Grid. But Grid is a franchise that deserves its own video as well, as they had a really interesting premise, a fantastic first game, a good second game, and then they started to lose its way, and now people don't even remember it. But at least they've had more games than PGR and well, and of course Blur, Split Second, all those other interesting games. I'm also looking forward to play Streamer. When is your next live stream? Well, probably if not tomorrow, probably, and I just failed by 1 second. I usually do live streams on weekends, so if not tomorrow, then on the next Saturday or Sunday, because it's when I have a bit more time to play here. As I'm quite busy on the week to, I know I'm letting the audience down with, proper video essays, but I've just been really, really busy at work. So live streaming is the best I can do. What time? Probably around the same time of today, which was 4 p.m. at my time zone, which is GM3 minus 3. So right now it's 6 p.m. Brazilian time. Next one will probably be at 4 p.m. Brazilian time. But I'll try to let people know in advance, which is something I should do. Ooh, almost hit the guardrail. Well, where are you at? I mean, if it's later than me, it means you're to my right. So it's is it Europe? Come on, come on, come on. Finished. England. Yeah. So you're at GMT 0, right? Or UTC 0 as they call it now. Congratulations. Championship complete. New championships unlocked. Good. Yes, you know, these days the algorithm really seems to punish those who don't cover the latest and greatest. But I don't care that much for new releases and I really like to play older games. So doesn't mean that there's only going to be three people watching, perhaps, but I'm having fun. So That's that's the important thing. But yeah, I really like those old games, and I still want to play. Still want to make a live stream on PGR4. Still want to play Grid, either for a video review or a series of live streams. I'm currently working on a video essay reviewing MotorStorm Apocalypse, which is a great game. What else? Let me see what other racing games I have here. I really had fun playing Onrush, which there is a video on the channel, and it's a game that not a lot of people know about, but it was made by the same people who created actually MotorStorm. And finally, we can afford the McLaren F1. Soon it will get boring once. What? Why can't I read everything? Once you've done everything in every PGR games. Yeah. But well, there's always another great forgotten racing game to play. And there's also some interesting modern interpretations as well. Let's call it that way. I mean, I'm really looking forward to play Streamer from what's the name of the studio? It's an Italian studio that's really good at racing games. I'm thinking Midnight, but it's not Midnight. Milestone Studios. Another game I haven't played yet, but I'm really looking forward to is Sonic Crossworlds. Even Mario Kart World I haven't yet played, as I don't own a Switch too, so there's a lot of great racing games. I mean, one way to see games that will vastly improve not only the way you get new games to play, but will essentially make you never feel like you don't have anything to play, is to treat games you've never played as new games, because then you'll always have a vast wealth of new games to play instead of new and old related only to the release date. But yeah, replaying the MotorStorm series, for example, was great fun. The games still play fantastically. Each game is different from the previous. And there's even the PSP one, as well as MotorStorm RC, which I've never played. And it's great fun. I think on the US, you can play it via the cloud, but it is not available where I live. So I had to play it on the original hardware. 2 seconds left. And failed. You should do a challenge that is to try to finish the game without spending money. Yeah, those challenges are pretty interesting. And they also exploit new ways to play the game, which people wouldn't really think about when they were playing it for the first time. I like those where they only play with European cars or American cars, or only with cars that only, rear wheel drive cars or something like that. Especially in older games, like GT4 is a game that still has thousands and thousands of new content being made essentially every day, which is just a testament to how great that game is. Even Need for Speed. I've just saw some challenges on Need for Speed Most Wanted that it never occurred to me to try to play it that way. Oops, oops, oops. 3 seconds left. And finished. That was close. That was close, but close or not, we're through. Have you ever played PGR Mobile? No, I wasn't even aware it existed. I'm not a huge fan of mobile games. I mean, I'm almost ashamed to say that when it comes to mobile games, I only play Tetris and Candy Crush. So, don't really know a lot of games there. It feels really awkward to me to play without, buttons. And I know you can buy there's that device which fits in either side, in both sides of your phones, and sort of makes it into a controller, but it still feels weird. Yeah, 2006, 2007. I don't even think I had a phone at that time. And I would bet that it wasn't released in Brazil as well. So, but I'll check it out. I mean, I'm didn't even know it existed. So I'll definitely check it out. Still have 4 checkpoints to go. 3 now. Ah, well, that was entirely my fault. The last PGR game was PGR Ferrari Edition in 2009 on mobile. Yeah, they really seem to have a close relationship with Ferrari. But yeah, I don't think I had a phone, a proper phone, until college, which was around 2010. So I wasn't really, by then looking out for the mobile market. And, as usual, I'd say most of those games were probably likely never released in Brazil. So, but on the other hand, it's pretty crazy to see how big the mobile market is these days. And we have teenagers that couldn't care less about consoles because they only play on mobile. And whenever they actually stop to play on a console, they play games that they have on mobile as well, like Fortnite and I think Roblox, which was quite a generational shock for me because, oh, failed. Because when I was a kid, all I wanted was a console. Are you playing on emulator or Xbox 360? I'm playing on Xbox 360. I'm using an Xbox 360E, and all that capture is on original hardware. I don't think the Xbox 360 emulation is really good. So unlike our PCS3, which is making huge leaps of progress every year, Xbox 360 emulation is still quite tricky. But fortunately, I have the console here, so. Ooh, not really a great jump. I always try to play on original hardware if possible. But if emulation is really good, like for PS2 games, these days I would rather play on emulation rather than the original hardware because it's just better. I mean, the game runs as good, if not better. You can play on a different controller. You don't have to worry about converting HDMI or anything like that. Let me pause to read your message. Did you know my first ever console game was PGR4 and then found PGR3 at a yard sale after? Yeah, that's no wonder you really like the series. I don't remember which was my first console game or Xbox 360 game for that matter. I can check my account later on, but yeah, I'm going to change the difficulty. I think my first 360 game was probably a ninja game. I have to go now. See you tomorrow. Well, thanks for being here and have a good night. See you on the next live stream as well, hopefully. Let's see if medium is enough to cross that event. Ooh, that was clean. Six checkpoints to go. 5. Four. Give me 3. Give me 3. 3 to go. 2, and that's a satisfying sound. Ooh, almost lost control there. 1 and finished. Congratulations, you passed. Silver medal awarded. Let's continue. Now we have a timed run. So let's try bumping the difficulty again. As we now have a McLaren F1 LM. Let's go. 2 minutes and 25 seconds, I believe. Careful with the bump. Don't let it oversteer. Brake, brake, brake. Now to the left. Brake again. Okay, we have a tricky little section here. Well, not as bad as it could be. Okay, that was as bad as it could be. And I'm going to restart. Oh boy. Here we go. Careful with the bump. Oh. Anyway. Well, let's at least use this to get used to the circuit, since we're certainly not going to succeed. "21 seconds remaining." Yeah, it will be. It is possible. It definitely is possible. Just gotta be a bit more careful. Let me get a sip of water here and we'll do it. Retry. Let's go. So first of all, we have to be careful with that bump here. Which, not really a great job. Careful. Here comes that tricky little part. Should have used the e-brake there, but let's see if we still have enough time. "33 seconds left." Will it be enough? 2, 1, almost. Yeah, those little crashes really costed. But it is possible. It certainly is possible. So let's retry. This is the one. Good start. So far, so good. Cover that tricky little part without any major issues. So this should be the one. Yeah, I'm going to medium. That should have been the one. But now it better be. I guess crashing here faster is better than not crashing slower. I mean, it is an arcade game after all. You gotta use it to your advantage. Ooh, almost crashed there. Emphasis on the almost. Oh, that was a bad crash. But that still ought to be enough. I'm just trying to picture how much it would cost to fix that McLaren F1 LM in real life. Probably more than to buy a brand new supercar. On the other hand, that's quite the conversation starter. I mean, I crashed the McLaren F1. Not a lot of people can say this, but Mr. Bean actually can. Rowan Atkinson, I think his name is. But what matters for us here is that we have another event finished and another trophy. So it's time to pick a new set of events. In this case, the Eliminator World Cup. So we'll go straight in. The last car to complete each lap is eliminated from the race. So we have 4 Eliminator events. Now, how much money do I have? Yeah, that's still not enough to buy another interesting car. So let's try to get 100,000 more, and then we'll get a different vehicle. It's an eliminator event, so we have to make sure that we're not in last place. Come on, don't hit me. Should have changed the difficulty back to hard, but let's use this event as a palate cleanser and relax a little bit. As we complete our first lap. Brake, 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 brake. Oops. Let's go on this path this time. And that is the last lap, which is a good thing. That was underwhelming. I mean, gotta change the difficulty. But at least there was no trouble this time around. Now, to buy a new car or not to buy a new car, that's the big question. And the answer is let's look at what we have available. Sounds tempting. The GTO Evo CCR. We have a Pagani Zonda. Interesting car. Could be. Oh, we have an SLR. So don't look any further. Give me a black SLR any day of the week. So we're going from a McLaren with a BMW engine to a Mercedes with a McLaren engine. And let's go back to hard. For drivers with confidence and skill, right? Brake, brake, brake. Come on, my dude, don't hit me. And the Porsche or the, I don't think it's Porsche, but I'm gonna have to go after him. Let's get some drafting here. And well, it worked. So 2 laps to go. I mean, yeah, 2 laps to go. I thought I was reading it wrong. Let's just brake carefully. We're not in desperation mode. And I still have some fierce competition. But this is the final lap. And that's it. First place it is. So let's continue. We now have, well, another eliminator event, as this entire cup is made only by events of that type. Let's just finish this one cup, and call it a day. Ooh, they're aggressive. Break, break, break. Ooh, almost lost control. Yeah, it doesn't seem like I'll be winning this one. That Ferrari is just flying. Three seconds. Can I shave it in 2 laps? Probably not. Yeah, we're not closing that distance. And indeed, we weren't able to cross that distance. So I'm gonna retry on medium straight away. Not going to. But yeah, it does feel like sometimes the balance between hard and medium isn't really well thought out in this game because when you change it, it feels like you're changing to easy, which should not, it shouldn't have such a jump from one difficulty to another. I mean, it's half of the first lap. I mean, and I'm already in first place. Look at the train. Let me get a sip of water since. Okay, let's bring this one home. Last lap it is. But as seems to be the case, whenever the difficulty is lowered to medium, things get a bit underwhelming. Yet on hard, it's tougher than it appears at first. But we'll get back to it for the final event of this cup, or rather tournament as they call it. And we're through. So let's continue and move to the final event of this tournament. I'm gonna use this card and get back to hard difficulty. Hopefully with a better result than in last time. Is it Vegas? Yes, it is. They didn't yet have the sphere, which I'm sure will be used in countless racing games from now on. And if that was a PC game, I'm sure that would have been added as a mod. But sadly, it's only on Xbox and stuck on the Xbox 360 at that. And that pesky Ferrari is already in first place. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to drive bomb into it, which isn't a very proud move, but desperate times ask for desperate actions. Well, not drive bombing into the guardrail. Yeah, I'm going to restart it. This time it's serious, right? Ooh. Come on, come on. Didn't work. Has to be now. After all, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. Unfortunately, that is going to be a defensive race all the way to the very end. 2 laps to go. We can do it. And it's the last lap, so only have to survive another lap. Well, that's not the ideal way to do that, but let's focus. And we did it. Wasn't beautiful, wasn't easy, but it worked. Congratulations, you passed. There's also a trophy coming our way and a bonus prize, which is always welcome. Championship complete. So now we have this Steamroller Tour Championship, but that will be played on a different day, as I have to call it quits now. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you're new here, make sure to check the other videos in this channel because, well, you might like it. Anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.